What is going on, Movie Meals? Movie Meals, we're here for the final Oscar predictions. One of my favorite videos of the year. Before we get into it, I got three things I want to talk about off the bat. First thing, thank you, Movie Meal patrons, Kimberly and Karen. Go get some merch, all that stuff. Link down below. Go join the patronage. Guys, help us get to the 2,000 sub mark. That's the goal. We're going to give away one of these bad boys right here. I wear it all day, every day. It's comfortable. We're gonna give one away to somebody who's been commenting, liking, sharing, subscribing, helping us out. We're a little channel, but we try to do little things for you because you do the little things for us, and we appreciate that. And now, before we get into it, I wanted to mention this off the show. Okay, you can see behind me. Naruto's hiding right there under the table. A lot of manga there. We got a lot of stuff. I just wanted to say to Akira Toriyama and his family and his sudden passing, it's devastating. It's just, I felt like my heart got ripped out of my chest. I felt very similar to when Robin Williams, Carrie Fisher. Obviously, we don't know these celebrities, but they are so impactful in our lives in ways that they don't even, I think, fully understand all the time. Dragon Ball Z is the reason I got into anime, got into great storytelling. I used to jump off our dock back home into a big lake in the summer, screaming Kamehameha waves, wishing I was shooting myself into the sky with my brother. Dragon Ball Z has been around for everything. It's so influential. I'm sure the gym the last 2 days has been littered with DBZ merch here. And I wanted to just quickly mention it, how devastating it was. I've seen so much love and support from all over the world, it seems like, online. And he was one of the most influential people on the planet, in all honesty. He really was. His media work stretches, it kind of dips its toe, very similar to Dune. It kind of has dipped into everything at this point. And it was an incredible legacy, an incredible story. Stayed up way too late playing video games last night. Was playing some Power World. I had DBZ, was watching the first Broly movie, having a good time, and just kind of enjoying my childhood. So I'm sure he's riding the Nimbus cloud up there, wherever you believe he is. I know he'll be there riding it. So I just wanted to mention that off top because it's been a devastating hit. I'm a teacher. It's incredible. I still see DBZ stuff everywhere. Everywhere I see it. It's incredible how influential and how big it is still. And, politicians were talking about it. Stephen A. Smith on ESPN's talking about it. There were prime ministers talking about it. He was very impactful. But anyway, I just wanted to get that off the bat right away. Let's get into the Oscars. It's going to be a long video. We'll see. This will be the new podcast episode. So Kyle and I are going to lock in our picks. I've locked in a couple, but I like to do it live on air. So Kyle, are you ready to begin?
Oh yeah, man. Let's do
this.
We're
gonna start with some of these faster paced ones. Let's go ahead and start with documentary short subject. And I'm starting with the ones I know Kyle and I haven't seen. But I know Kyle and I put in a little bit of research here. So Kyle, we've got the ABCs of I can't see in here. There's no light. We've got the ABCs of book banning, The Barber of Little Rock, Island in Between, The Last Repair Shop, and Nani Nani Weipu, I believe is how you say that. I apologize for any butchering of anything today. Kyle, where are you going?
My vote is going to be the ABCs of book banning. It's a hot topic right now in our world, so I feel like when it comes to like who the Academy will be choosing out of these five, it would make sense to go with the story about book banning. So, yep.
I'm also going with it, although I've heard a lot about Nani Nani maybe competing, but I'm going to go with the ABCs of book banning as well.
Sounds good.
All right, we're going to move on to live action short film. Why don't I see it on here? I know it's on here. Short film live action. Here we go. The nominees for this are The After, Invincible, Night of Fortune, Red, White, and Blue, and The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. I'm going to take this one off the bat. The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar is a Netflix film by Wes Anderson. I haven't seen any of these. Every year I try to get to the short films. I never end up doing it. I know it's on my list, on my to-do list, but I never end up doing it. But I'm going to go with Wes Anderson because he's never won an Academy Award, and not that I know of. I don't believe he has.
I don't
And
believe he has either. Yeah.
he probably made this to finally just get one, to be honest. But anyway, where are you going, Kyle?
That's mine as well. I mean, I've been hearing that Red, White, and Blue could be a possible winner here, so maybe it's a tighter race than we realize, but I am going to go with Henry Sugar just because I think that Wes Anderson is beloved in the industry, but he just, for whatever reason, just has never had that moment to get enough recognition in the Academy, I believe. Maybe like Grand Budapest Hotel is like the last one I could really think of, so I could see the Academy deciding to like give him his award with Henry Sugar.
All right, moving on to short film animated. We've got Letter to a Pig, 95 Seasons, Our Uniform. Oh my god!
I think it's 95 senses.
Sorry, 95 senses. Guys, I can't see in here. It looks like I'm lit. I'm not. Let's see here. Pachyderum. Sorry. And War is Over, inspired by the music of John, our boy. It's the Beatles short animated film. Kyle, where are you going with this? Sorry.
I'm going to go with 95 Senses based on the sound of the story, and I believe it's narrated by Tim Blake Nelson. I think that could lean towards being the winner. So I'm going to take a shot with that one.
I'm going to go with Letter to a Pig. I've heard that is very, very good. Although the Beatles always have some power there. I have not heard much about 95 Senses, not seasons, 95 Senses, but I'm going to go with Letter to a Pig.
All right. The first different one.
Moving on, we are going to move to documentary feature. Kyle, you want to read these ones out? I can't see anything.
I could try to. Let me try to find it on my list here real quick. You said documentary feature, right?
Yep.
Okay. For documentary feature, we have Bobby Wine, the president's... Bobby Wine, the people's president, The Eternal Memory, 4 Daughters, To Kill a Tiger, and 20 Days in Maripol.
Yeah, it's not reading's pretty hard, huh? Yeah, sitting
Just
there making fun of me over there. You're making fun of me. I see what you're doing behind those doors.
Yeah, I'm not going to deny that.
I'm just kidding. Where are you going?
I'm going to go 20 Days in Maripol.
I am too.
I'm trying to remember. I made these picks a few days ago, but if I recall correctly, this is a documentary involving Russia and Ukraine and the war and conflict going on within there. I feel like the subject matter for that being very timely would be what people lean towards to the most and what would probably impact them the most as well. So I'm going to have that be my choice.
I'm with you. I agree. I've out of all the documentaries, I've heard of a couple of them, but I've heard of 20 Days in Maripol quite often. It comes up every now and then over the last couple months, to be completely honest with you.
Okay.
All right. We're going to move over to international feature film. So we have Lo Capitano, Perfect Days, Society of the Snow, The Teacher's Lounge, and The Zone of Interest. As much as I think Society of Snow is competing, I think this is Zone of Interest locked and loaded. I think it's nominated for Best Picture. I think it's going to win here. I think it's not even really that close. What about you?
Yeah, Society of the Snow is a movie awesome. I love. I was able to see The Teacher's Lounge. I thought it was good, but I just didn't feel like it was strong enough to like be a contender. Although I could just be disassociated from the subject matters of like the German school system, not like connecting with me as like an American who grew up with American schooling. So that could be part of the reason why it didn't affect me in a strong light. But I think The Zone of Interest, regardless, is going to be the lock here. I think that's the movie that people are talking about the most in this category, and rightfully so, because I was able to see that too, and it is one heck of a movie, that's for sure. So I think it's gonna
Uh,
go to that.
Perfect Days has been on my list for a while. I have not gotten to see it, but I've heard it's very good. But yeah, I think
Yeah,
this is a
yeah,
runaway for Zone of Interest.
yeah. Kind of
Um,
looks that way.
all right, let's move over to. Let's go to makeup and hairstyling. I think some of these are going to be very interesting. These kind of
Hmm.
niche makeup production and costume. We're going to go these next. So, makeup and hairstyling is Golda, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Society of the Snow. Kyle, where you headed here?
I think I'm going to give this to Poor Things. Um, I think
Ooh, okay.
I think the Academy may lean towards wanting to give this movie something because I think it's going to be a battle for Poor Things in some other categories more so than makeup and hairstyling will. Um, I wish there was more talk about Society of the Snow personally, but I think Poor Things is the one that's going to be able to take this one home
I think this is going to Maestro. I think it will be the only win it gets.
for the
And
nose makeup.
I think that's a fun joke, but I think when you really look at the movie that you don't like, that I think its
Mhm.
makeup and hairstyling stand out. I actually don't think the makeup and hairstyling in any of the other movies stand out in a great way, other than maybe Society of the Snow, but I don't think that's getting it. There are other things and Poor Things I think that stand out that are very much a part of the 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 movie like as of its own character. Where I think makeup and hairstyling, I think they're going to give Bradley something and his movie something, and I think that this is where it's going to be. So I'm going with Maestro. So we've got two differences here. And
All
now
right.
moving on, we're going to move to costume design, which is Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Now, I think makeup and hairstyling thinks it's a close race between Poor Things and Barbie personally, but I actually don't. I think that's in costume and production. I think this is where these two
Agreed.
duke it out, and
Yeah.
I think the costumes in Poor Things are their own character. I think they are what you remember. I think it
Hmm.
more than you remember a lot of things in the movie. You remember the crazy costumes, and I'm going with Poor Things. I do think Barbie is close here, but I think that costume will be going to Poor Things in this category. There are years though where costume and makeup and hairstyle tend to go hand in hand, and it's the same uh, couple designers winning for the same movie. So I
Yeah.
don't think Kyle's far off on makeup and hairstyle. I'm just going to go Maestro. But Kyle, what do you got for or costume?
Alex, I love you because we are in sync when it comes to what we think about costume and production design. I do think it's going to be close races between both Poor Things and Oppenheimer, or Poor Things and Oppenheimer, Poor Things and Barbie. Excuse me. I don't even know why I said Oppenheimer. That makes no sense at all. But honestly, it's going to be a flip flop situation where I could see one taking the other or vice versa or one of them getting both or none or but right now I am going to have my vote be locked up at Poor Things for costume design cuz I agree with you. Like I love the production design when it comes to Poor Things, but I feel like the bigger standout is the costumes, as you were saying, that they feel like a character of their own and they also
They
make
really
up like
do.
each individual character. Like they literally illustrate like who they are um as people, and as well as they help set what like the wild zany gothic tone that this movie is kind of trying to represent. So I'm gonna lean towards Poor Things getting the win, but I could see Barbie also taking it. I think it's gonna be a close race.
All right, moving over to production. Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Now, this is interesting. So I'm going to throw it to Kyle first because I'm more torn on this Barbie Poor Things debate here than I am in these other spots. So,
Mhm.
Kyle, where are you going with production design? We're talking the sets here, people. That's what the production design is, the sets, the atmosphere, how you have constructed where you're filming. So,
Mhm.
Kyle, where are you going?
I am going to have Barbie be my lock for this category. Again, I could see it like Poor Things taking it over Barbie, but thinking about it more, I feel like the voters are going to be more impressed by seeing a big budget movie utilizing sets and those sets feeling like they're coming to life when it comes to like Barbie World. Poor Things,
And they
when it comes
built
to this
Barbie
production
World.
design, I think like it was one of the bigger standouts to me when it comes to like these nominations. But I think when it comes to the voters, they would lean towards being impressed by how well done they were and how much they really have an effect on the movie Barbie as a whole. And I think since they have wins for things like possibly makeup or costume design with Poor Things, I could see them deciding like Barbie should be able to get a win um, for like production design because it's worthy, and we have enough wins for Poor Things. So that's kind of my rationale for choosing this. I'm going to go with Barbie.
See, I think that this is a two-horse race between Poor Things and Barbie, and if I have to give one the current lead, which horse I think is in the lead right now, I think it's Poor Things. But I'm going with Kyle, baby. Barbie, let's get it. You know she's waiting to just get that edge, get around the corner, and take the lead. That's what's going on with my girl Barbie. The production of Barbie, like there were shots, and the sets obviously in Poor Things are great, but they again, they don't feel like a character to me. Barbie's set feels like its own character. Barbie Land feels like a character. They built Barbie Land. What are we even the beach, everything about it is screams production design, even though I do think Poor Things is the horse in the lead at the moment and could very well win. I'm going with Kyle, baby. Get us in Barbie Land. We'll sing the song. We'll do whatever we need to. Get us into Barbie Land.
Sing the song like it's a rain dance.
Yes. Yes. All right, moving on. We're going to move over to visual effects. We have the creator, Godzilla -1, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1, and Napoleon. I thought Napoleon was a documentary. I'm just kidding. Kyle, where are you leaning here? I think this is a much tighter race than people are giving it credit for.
No, I remember saying it on our nomination reaction video that I think Godzilla -1, while it could be seen as like an underdog to some people, I think it's actually going to wind up being a tighter race than we realize. As much as the creator is phenomenal when it comes to his visual effects, and honestly, it's like the one good thing about that movie. I think Godzilla -1 has the story of like how small of a team pulled off making the visual effects in Godzilla look so good, and it also helps make the movie itself be a really great movie. I think when it comes to voters, they're so used to Godzilla movies kind of being tongue in cheek and schlocky in a sense, while Godzilla -1 actually has legitimacy to its story. So I think between that surprise, along with like the story behind them, I think that this is a little engine that could situation, and Godzilla could end up being the winner. I don't know if it's completely rationale with where I'm going with this, but I'm gonna have this vote be like the one that is going to be kind of personal to me more so than with logic, I suppose, and give it to Godzilla. I really think it could wind up winning.
I really don't think Mission Impossible or Napoleon are even really in contention here. I think Guardians would be if Marvel didn't have such a bad taste in so many people's mouths, including the Academy. The Academy, they've upped their count, right? So we went from around a little over 6,000 members to over 9, and they made sure that a lot of people are non-U.S. citizens, that they live, they're members of Hollywood, but who live abroad. So that helps. That's a lot of diversity. And I believe that's supposed to be like a 20-25% number of the entire voting base is supposed to be people not based in the U.S. So granted, how many, a couple of them Hemsworths are probably in there, still living in Australia. Matt Damon's one of them. He lives in Australia now. But
did not know that.
I think the creator, when you sit back and you look at visual effects, the creator stands out. But it ain't no Godzilla -1. I'm going Godzilla every day of the week because the visual effects in that movie are awesome. They pay homage to the Godzillas that came before while also updating it modernly where it's not over the top hokey, kind of like what we have now. And I love those movies, but what we have now. And I do think the creator has a very, very good chance to win this thing. Yeah. I really am like sitting back being like, I can't believe Guardians is not being talked about, because Guardians visual effects are fantastic. And Guardians, I probably won this category the first movie when it came out, I bet. I can't remember what year and what it was up against, but I'd be curious to look. But I think at the end of the day, I think people were really hyped for Godzilla. And to be honest, the video of the team freaking out when they got nominated alone is enough to just hope that they get a win, man. So I'm going with Godzilla -1 because Kyle and I are big fans. I just saw, before Kyle and I got on air, Godzilla -1 coming on DVD out in Japan on May 1st. I'm going to be shipping one of them DVDs over here to me.
Hell yeah.
I'll tell you that right now.
I did not know they were doing that. Yeah.
We're moving on to sound. Should still be sound editing and sound mixing. They are very different, but whatever. Sound. We have the creator, Maestro, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning, Part 1, Oppenheimer, and The Zone of Interest. The Zone of Interest sound that's mixing is phenomenal. It's so good.
Yeah.
And it's a bummer it's going up against Oppenheimer because, again, we're talking about things that stand out in a movie. And the design and the sounds in Oppenheimer stand out as their own character. I don't even think this is close. I think people want it to be, and it's not. I think Oppenheimer is walking in, grabbing it, walking out. What are your thoughts here, Kyle?
I think I'm wanting it to be close.
Zone of Interest is great.
Yeah.
But
and
it
really,
ain't no Oppie. Come on.
I know, but at the same time, though, it really does leave people shaken. In terms of like how it's utilized in the Zone of Interest. I feel like that could be the takeaway over Oppenheimer, which does have great use of its sound, but I don't know. I feel like it could leave such an emotional reaction to people that could give it the win.
I don't.
I'm gonna lock it in at Zone of Interest. I talked myself into it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not
Give
super
me your
confident.
Money now. Give it to me.
I'm not super confident. That's one I probably wish I'll take back, but I don't know. I think I it's just so good that I have to think like it could possibly get the win. I don't know. I'm just trying to talk myself into it, but
if they say Zone of Interest, I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, how on earth did they do that? It's such a surprise upset. I don't think it's a surprise upset, but I do think it's Oppenheimer's to lose. I don't think any of the others have a shot to even get close to this movie, but I think Zone of Interest is going to win international feature film, and that'll be enough. And what's so great about the voting, the Oscars and our picks every year is there are years that it feels like they really gave a little bit of love to everything, you know, that everybody got a little bit of the piece of pie. And then there are years like last year where it's like, no, Everything Everywhere All at Once is the best movie to come out in years, and we're going to give it to that. Every category gets that because it's that good. And so it's always fun to kind of figure out what year is going to end up being like that. Because do we make our picks with the idea that they might spread the love or not? And I think the spreading the love also happens slightly more because of the upping of how many people are in the voting body now. But anyway, all right, moving on. Let's jump over to the music side of things before we kind of get into the big kahunas here.
All right, let's do it.
So let's do best original song. We have The Fire Inside, Flamin' Hot, I'm Just Ken from Barbie, It Never Went Away, American Symphony. I'm going to pronounce this poorly, and I am sorry. Wazahazi.
Yeah, a song for my people.
A song for my people from Killers of the Flower Moon. Apologize for butchering it. And What Was I Made For from Barbie. As much as it would be fun for I'm Just Ken to win, as much as I love the song in Killers of the Flower Moon, this, I think, is Billie Eilish all day, every day, because she keeps doing these, making these incredibly powerful songs for incredibly good movies, other than that one James Bond movie. I think this is What Was I Made For. It's one of the crutches of the movie. It plays a huge role, the song does, in the movie, where I'm Just Ken is kind of just a fun number that'll be fun for the show live, but that's about it. They still should nix. I love that Ryan Gosling's performing the song. They should nix every single song from being performed at the Oscars. They should nix it. Anyway, Kyle, where are you going here?
Yeah, I think it'll be What Was I Made For. I just don't Yeah, I just don't know what else will really compete with it. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go with that. That's my lock.
All right. Music, original score, American Fiction, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things. I love you, John Williams. They gave you a nomination. You ain't winning. I don't think this is close. The score in Oppenheimer, again, the score in Oppenheimer is part of the movie. It's its own character. That's how good the score is. I mean, I can sit here and hear that score in my head thinking about certain scenes in the movie. And so I'm I'm going to give it to Oppenheimer. Kyle, what are your thoughts?
Um, yeah, I would agree with Oppenheimer. I've heard a few sprinklings of like, ooh, it could be American Fiction, or ooh, it
No,
could be Killers of the
no.
Flower Moon, but
Maybe.
it
I
wasn't
mean,
enough to
maybe.
sway me.
American Fiction.
No, I'm just saying it wasn't enough to sway me. I think it's gonna be Oppenheimer's.
Honestly, Kyle, going all the way back to sound, are you telling me that you just don't think of the bleacher scene in Oppenheimer, all the stomping and the and the bombs detonate, the sound in that scene alone wins an Oscar? What are we talking about here, Kyle?
Hey
Why?
man, I know.
Why?
I saw it in IMAX. I get it.
Stop.
That's what I'm gonna wish I'll take back.
Did you see it in 70 millimeter?
No.
I moved just to brag to everybody I know that I could see movies at 70 millimeter IMAX.
Hey, not many people can. Not many people can do that.
It's true. All right, Oppenheimer it is. Let's move over to film
that
editing.
bleacher scene, though. Oof.
It is very good. Let's move over to film editing. Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Kyle, where are you going here?
Oppenheimer, easily.
Yeah, me too. And it's always interesting because it's like, is a movie 3 hours long really have very good editing? Like their scenes are so like, you don't understand filmmaking. You don't understand filmmaking when you say those things. You don't, contrary to popular belief, I took my ADHD meds today, but you don't understand how this goes. Okay? You don't understand film editing and its importance. I'm looking at Kyle, but I want to really address you. You don't understand how film editing is. If it's Oppenheimer every day, all day, it's how the shots, how are you cutting the scenes? How are you transitioning from one to the other? How are you doing that? How are you building a story through that? Editing can destroy a great movie.
Ow.
Editing can make a bad movie good. That's how good an editor is. If you don't believe me, go ask George Lucas's first wife and a lead editor.
Oh,
It's Oppenheimer all day. All right, moving on. God, I'm getting sweaty.
that was a joke, like, because he cut her out of his life or something. I don't know. I didn't know where you.
All right, moving on. We're going to get into animated feature film. We have The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, Robot Dreams, and Spider-Man Across Spider-Verse. Kyle, where are you going here?
Out of curiosity, did this become a tight race for you too?
It's absolutely a tight race. And no, Kyle, It's not between Nimona and Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. As much as you love Nimona, it's not. All right,
it's not happening, Kyle.
It's between The Boy and the Heron and Spider-Man Across Spider-Verse.
Yeah, because originally I remember thinking like it wouldn't be that close of a race just because it could be Miyazaki's last movie with The Boy and the Heron, but now I am saying with you that Across the Spider-Verse and Boy and the Heron are going to be a much tighter race. And I'm kind of now, to be honest, this is the category I haven't chosen yet, unlike the other ones. But I'm kind of leaning towards Spider-Verse actually taking the edge. I think that one's going to get the win.
I think when you look at the similar race with Oppenheimer and Poor Things, or not Oppenheimer, Poor Things and Barbie and some of those kind of niche categories, production and things like that. I think when you give the lead horse to someone in this category, I think the lead horse at the moment is Spider-Man Across Spider-Verse. I think it's won more awards overall in the animated field. I believe it won the big animated award. And now look, Miyazaki is old. Where does the voting member of the Academy go, this movie's not as good, this movie doesn't feel old Miyazaki to me, but I'm going to give him the win because it might be the last for one of the greatest living directors ever? And you just don't know. I don't think that's the way they're leaning myself. Miyazaki is prepping and planning and working on a new movie. He wants to make another. As much as it hurts my soul I am also going to give this to Spider-Man Across Spider. I mean, it doesn't hurt my soul. I love Boy and the Heron. It's so good, and I think it
Yeah.
is one of his best movies ever. I think it is really up there with some of his best, and I just think Across the Spider-Verse, even though the first one also won this award, I think it
Mhm.
is loved for a reason. It's still being talked about in the news how good it is. I mean, just with all that Batman Beyond stuff that's going out with the same animation style, it
Oh,
continues to
yeah.
keep Spider-Man in the conversation where Boy and the
Mhm.
Heron isn't. And I do think Boy and the Heron will just is going to have a tougher time. If they say that name, I will be this will be one category I'm so
Oh,
happy to
yeah.
be wrong in. I'm not going to be sitting there screaming to the heavens why this is a snub. I will be pleasantly surprised and happy. All right, let's
Yeah,
move on.
I
We're
agree with
moving to
you.
writing. Best original screenplay: Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, May December, and Past Lives. Get Barbie should be in here. It's stupid. It's not. I don't care if it's based off an IP.
But it
Um,
is.
yeah, I,
It's based
what
on an IP. Makes
I
sense. I honestly don't care.
no,
I'm just making a
I,
joke.
but I agree with you. Everything you said, Alex agrees with. It is based on an IP, and I understand that it makes sense. I just think it's stupid. Um, Kyle, where are you going here? I think this is a tough one
um,
too. I think this is a close race.
close race between Anatomy and Past Lives, I'm guessing.
No, and I wish it
Interesting.
was. I think
Interesting.
this is a close
Okay.
race between The Holdovers and Anatomy of a Fall. I think Past Lives was
Yeah.
the best movie of last year, and I think
Mhm.
its lack of overall love shows that people aren't voting for it. So I do not
I
think it will
agree.
win here, even though its
Yeah, you
script
make
is
a good point.
phenomenal. I think this is
Uh,
between Anatomy of a Fall and The Holdovers.
yeah, for me, I'm thinking Anatomy of Fall is gonna take this vote.
I am
I
with
think
you.
it is, and I also think it is the stronger script out of all these movies, to be honest, personally. But
I
I
do
think
not.
that movie relies a lot on its script too, in order to have the actors nail down like different emotions and like different um, subconscious reactions and feelings when it comes to like how the story goes. So I could see that taking the win.
I think if you say any Anatomy of Fall, Holdovers, or Past Lives, if you came up to me out of those three and said this is the best of those three, I would agree. I mean, like, I can't argue. I feel like they're all that good. I think when you think of all those movies, they're all talking movies, and when they're talking movies, you know you got a great script. So I'm very animated today.
I
Must be the
know.
meds. I personally agree. I think it will be Anatomy of a Fall. I really, really hope it's Past Lives. I desperately want it to be because I think Past Lives is the best movie of last year. And I think The Holdovers, also, if they say The Holdovers name, I will be like, sweet, awesome. It's a
Mm.
great movie. I think of some of those great conversational pieces in that movie. So I'm happy either way here. So let's I'm sad if it's not Best Line, but let's move on to Best Writing Adapted. We've got American Fiction, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Zone of Interest. I also think this is a contentious category. I think this is a category that's tougher. And I would say it's between American Fiction and Oppenheimer. But I think when we're talking about these horse races here, I'm
Hmm.
going Oppenheimer. And I think that the lead that Oppenheimer has over American Fiction is a wider lead than, let's say, a Poor Things over a Barbie or a Spider-Man over a Boy in the Heron. I think Oppenheimer's got a little bit more ground ahead
Hmm.
of American Fiction, but I do think it will be Oppenheimer in this category. I think it was loved by a lot of people for a lot of reasons, and I think its script is fantastic. Where you go here, even though I do think Barbie is probably the best script of these movies, to be completely frank with you, and people don't give that enough credit because they're too busy with the joke. Dumb, you're stupid. Anyway, Kyle, where you going here?
I originally thought it was going to be Oppenheimer, but I decided to lock in my vote for American Fiction.
Interesting.
Because there's past awards for writing that I've seen American fiction getting more of than Oppenheimer. And this isn't, take this with a bit of salt, I suppose, but I've been reading up on some of the anonymous ballots, which are all wackadoodle crazy all the time, always a good laugh. But the one common thread that I kept seeing with them all was that they were talking and raving about American fiction and how smart and funny that script was.
It
And
is. It's very good.
again, which is true, but you know how crazy, those anonymous ballots can be and how all over the place each one is from the other. But it was weird to me that they practically all of them were in agreement about American fiction. Now, granted, that's a very small sample size compared to the thousands of voters that are in the Academy, but between that and the awards that it got previously, I kind of think American fiction has a shot to win this. And it's enough to make me feel comfortable locking it up as the winner of adapted screenplay.
If they say it, I do not think I will roll over shocked. I think the script in American fiction is awesome. I do think Oppenheimer's got a wider lead than some of these others we've talked about at the moment myself.
Sure.
Who won the Writers Guild Award?
That I don't know off the top of my head, but I can find out.
I'd be curious.
Is that a big indicator?
Know. I don't know. I'd just be curious who the writers would vote for. You know what I mean?
Actually, it hasn't been announced yet. It's happening in April.
Oh, so really, the Oscars decides who wins that award.
I guess
we broke the code.
So,
if they call American Fiction, I'll be happy. I mean, I think it's a bigger of an upset, but I think it's very worth it. I loved the script, and I mean, it's a movie about writers, and writers love movies about themselves. As much as we get on Hollywood, we love movies about us. Everybody loves things about themselves. We all love ourselves. You dummies! What are we talking about here? Let's move on to. You're right. I do love you more than you love yourself. We're moving on to best cinematography as we get into the big heavy hitters now. Cinematography: El Con, The Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. This one is interesting. Kyle, where you go here?
I think this one will be Oppenheimer.
I agree.
I don't really see a tight race either.
Yeah, I think Killers of the Flower Moon has a better chance people give it credit for. I also think Poor Things has a better chance. Poor Things at times looks like a painting.
Yeah.
Like some of their shots look like paintings. And I think that is very powerful, but I think at the end of the day, this is an Oppenheimer sweep. So I guess that wasn't as contentious as I thought maybe the discourse might be. You never know with you.
Do you mean competitive?
Yeah, whatever I said.
Yeah, okay, just making sure. Gotcha.
We're going to move in to Best Director. We have Justine Triet for Justine Triet. I apologize. It's hard to see. I didn't see the E. Justine Triet for Anatomy of a Fall. Martin Scorsese, Killers of the Flower Moon. Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer. Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things. And Jonathan Glazer for Zone of Interest. As much as I think if you went up and brought up Martin Scorsese, Chris Nolan, I mean, these are heavy hitters. There's some new people on the block that are really strong. But I don't even think this is close. I think Chris Nolan is finally going to win that director's nod, that director's Oscar. And I think this is him all day, every day. And I think it is rightfully deserving.
Yeah.
He also won the DGA.
Yeah. So, I echo that too. One of the biggest movies of the year. I think the industry has loved Nolan for a long time, but now they're finally seeing their opportunity to give him a award that's deserving, and also of equal note that it is like one of the strongest and one of the best movies of the year. So it's not necessarily a complete hey, you deserve this award type of situation. It's also equally part you also did make one of the best movies of the year. So
yeah. All right. We're going to move into actor in a supporting role. We have Sterling K. Brown for American Fiction. Love seeing that nod. Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon. Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer. Ryan Gosling for Barbie. I'm Just Ken. And Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things. This, I mean, in our movie club chat got it was this big conversational piece when May December came out of who was challenging RDJ. And at the end of the day, we made up noise that didn't exist. And it wasn't just Charles that we talked about. We talked about other people too. Mark Ruffalo was a big conversational piece with all our friends about movies and stuff. But apparently to Hollywood, it was never even close. This is RDJ, and he's winning his Academy Award finally for the first time. And I'm here for it. His performance is great, and it's a very great supporting role. And as much as I think Sterling K. Brown does a wonderful job, and all of them do a great job, this is Robert Downey Jr. all day, every day.
Yeah, out of all these movies, this was the first that I saw of them in the year, and immediately when you're watching RDJ in that role, you're like, oh, this guy's like locked up at least one part of the supporting actor race. Like the way that he just takes command of the role opposite of Cillian Murphy's Oppenheimer is just amazing to witness. And I think when it comes to the Academy, they will realize that, but also they are going to be really happy to see RDJ like kind of back, like not to like completely poo-poo over like his roles in Marvel necessarily, although some of them probably do feel that way, but this is like after a long time of wanting him to like see like what his acting rage can look like. This is the role that definitely did that for the Academy, I feel like. So it's going to be his.
All right, we're going to move into actress in a supporting role. We have Emily Blunt, Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple, America Ferrera for Barbie, Jodie Foster for Nyad, Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers. And I have been saying it since the moment I walked out of the theater that it was going to be Divine Joy Randolph. I literally walked out, said to my girlfriend, I was like, that is the best supporting like performance I've seen in a long time. It's so freaking good. She is my front runner to win the Oscar. I never saw anything to ever change that. Clearly everybody agrees she's sweeping. She's about to be Academy Award winner, Divine Joy Randolph, and it is absolutely deserved. Unless Kyle's got some stupidity he's about to spout.
Nope, no stupidity here. I think if you're a betting man, this is like the easy one that you should take. Divine Joy Randolph is going to get this win.
Some sports books are allowing you to bet on the Oscars.
That's going to be a slippery slope if the Oscars decide to join in on that.
We're moving to actor in a leading role. Bradley Cooper for Maestro. Coleman Domingo, Rustin. Love seeing Coleman Domingo in here. Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers. Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer. And Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction. Kyle, where you headed?
Oh, okay. Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer.
As much as the Globes started this fun conversation that it was close between him and Paul, Cillian Murphy won the SAG. He won the BAFTA, the other two kind of major actor awards. He was always the first up. As much as I thought after walking out of Maestro, I know it's a contentious movie, I thought Bradley Cooper was close. But the more I've sat and more I've thought, even now I say I don't think it's close. But I think this is Cillian Murphy all day. It's time. I can't wait to see him do 28 years later. But let's move on because that's an easy one. So we're moving to, we got two left, unless I am wrong. We've got actress in a leading role, which is one of the most contentious, and Best Picture. So we're moving on to actress in a leading role. We got Annette Bening for Nyad, Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Holler. Is it Holler?
I'm not sure.
Apologize. I don't know. I thought it was Holler for Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, and Emma Stone for Poor Things. Now this is going to be a fun one to watch because as soon as Emma Stone came out with Poor Things, everyone, and if anyone denies you, they're liars, said she was the runaway winner for the Oscar. I left Killers of the Flower Moon saying I think Lily Gladstone is the runaway at the moment, and then I left Poor Things saying I think Emma Stone's the runaway for the Oscar.
Oh crap.
But then the voting for all the other smaller awards came in, and it has been interesting. And I have gone back to my first point. I'm locking in my Montana Kalispell girl, Lily Gladstone, repping the hometown, baby. I'm going Lily. She won the SAG award, which shocked people. She did not win the BAFTA. She wasn't nominated for the BAFTA or wasn't eligible. There was something she wasn't in that category.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember it now too.
Well, which makes sense. The BAFTAs are the British version. She's not British.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I think it's Lily. I won't roll over, oh, how is it Emma Stone when they call Emma's name?
Emma.
Emma, how could you do that? I also think there is a third party nipping down there, kind of yapping
Sandra.
away, and I think it's Sandra
Mhm.
for Anatomy of a Fall. But I think this is going to Lily, and I think this is the tightest race of them all. Kyle, where are you headed? Are you supporting the home state here? What are you doing?
I'm supporting the home team, baby.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
Lock it in.
No, I saw it all unfolding just like you did, Alex. I saw that Emma Stone was like getting the majority of like those other awards. But then when the SAG award happened and Lily got it, and the cheer, the loudness of that cheer when it comes to like the actors branch, that gave me the confidence to be like, oh, I could see her taking this. Like, it's one thing if everyone else was able to give Emma a bunch of other awards. Like, I bet the voters probably witnessed that. And then they still were like, okay, she's able to get those awards. Lily doesn't have any. And good on her for getting SAG from her own group of like actors. But I could see that playing out in that situation to where they're like, both of those performances are incredible. We're seeing that Emma Stone is getting the flowers. We see that Emma Stone is like championing Lily Gladstone at the same time. So I could see it being where Lily Gladstone is able to take this, and people will be very happy. On top of that being a great performance, there is also a historical element to it too, where I think people want to be a part of in like voting for her as well. But when it comes to performances, Lily's is very strong.
If she wins, I believe she'd be the first Native to win an Academy Award. Wasn't she the first nominated or something like that?
I believe so. I can double check that for you.
Which is disgusting. It's disgusting of the Academy and its 100-year history of stupidity. I'll tell you right now, I'm looking at you, the Academy members in the Academy show, you play her, Lily. If Lily Gladstone wins, you play her off, we riot in the streets. I want to hear that speech. I don't give a crap if it's 30 freaking minutes. I want to hear that speech. Nix some of these songs, and you let Lily Gladstone enjoy her moment. The speeches are the best part, to see these people who have worked and fought and clawed their way up, especially a Native American in her country getting to an award that is rightfully deserved. You give her opportunity to talk. You hear me?
Yeah.
Little shits.
And just to confirm, she is the first Native American to be nominated for Best Actress.
Long overdue.
Yeah. We figured as much, but it was good to double check. Yeah.
It will be interesting, though. Now, people forget how the Academy voting works, okay? You're nominated from the people in your category so it's the actresses who nominated her, right? She wins the SAG. Those are all the actors. But when you vote for the winner, you've got editors, you've got the directors, you've got the costume, everybody, the production artists, everybody's voting. And that changes things. It still is so weird that Ben Affleck didn't get nominated for the SAG, but he got nominated for the Oscar. It was weird. Or no, the other way around. He got nominated for the Directors Guild, but he didn't get nominated for Argo, for the
only Best
Academy
Picture
Award. It was weird. It makes no sense. How does that even work? Same people. All right, we're moving on. I can't wait to see. I hope it's Lily Gladstone so bad. And I would be happy with Emma. I really would. I'd be happy with Sandra. I think this is a tight race with great women who did some amazing things. And as much as Annette Bening really, I don't think deserved to be here over some others, looking at Greta Lee, Margot Robbie, but she still put in a heck of a performance, okay? At the end of the day, these are powerful women doing great things. You support them. All right, Best Picture. The nominees are American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, Zone of Interest, and I don't even think it's close. Get the broom. Oppenheimer, we're taking it all. I think Oppenheimer's winning Best Picture. If Oppenheimer doesn't win Best Picture, I legitimately am going to be like, what? Is this a La La Land incident? What happened? What's going on? Kimmel, what'd you do this time? That's what I'm going to be saying.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's also going to be Oppenheimer. And to be honest, even if it did become a snub, I don't know if a snub is the right word here, but even if it was an Oppenheimer, I don't really know what would be second. Like, I never really got a vibe on like who people thought could be like a tight race of like a follow of like
I mean,
or
personally,
excuse
Past
me.
Lives should be winning this in my book because it was my favorite movie of last year. But
Yeah, but there just wasn't enough
we're not looking
love
at it
by the
personally.
Academy behind it. Like,
Yeah, no,
would it
we're not
be
looking
Barbie?
personal.
Would it be Poor Things? I get what you
If
mean.
they say, okay, the only one I think that if they said over Oppenheimer, if they said Barbie, I'd be pumped. I'd be like, heck yeah.
I think
Heck
that would surprise
yeah.
me.
Oh, no, it would surprise me, but it's the only one I would be like happy. I'd be pleasantly surprised. I would not be like, what? Like, they got this wrong. I'd be like, heck yeah, Barbie, 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 Barbie,
Like
Barbie, Barbie.
casual viewers and like the ones who only saw Barbie and are going to be like watching the Academy Awards to see it win, like they're the ones that are going to cheer the loudest. We're going to hear it from our homes. Like it's
like Piccolo in The Lookout in the Dragon Ball Z movie. He's like, I heard you 80 planets away. I'm coming.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Oppenheimer.
Those are our picks. Those are our picks. Hey, guys, put your picks down there. Let's have a conversation about it. Put all your picks for these categories. Can't wait. I love the Oscars. I'm taking Monday off. So I can watch the Oscars, stay up late, have a couple bevies. Don't endorse it unless they want to pay us. If anybody wants to pay us, we'll endorse whatever you got.
Be of age, drink responsibly.
I do teach children. Yes. I'm taking Monday off so I can really just enjoy the Oscars, sleep in. I love it. It's one of my favorite parts of the year. Any actor that says they don't want to win it is a liar. So, even I get a little deep down jealous if I hear somebody else won Teacher of the Year. You kidding me? You seen my records? What are we doing here? All right, guys, what did you think? Comment below. Let us know. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Thank you to my patrons. Go get a hoodie. Do all that stuff to get a free hoodie. Go buy one. And one more time, RIP Akira Toriyama, the GOAT. So, yeah. And as always, thanks for watching, Mom.
See you guys.